Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. My powers are not at their highest. I'm tired. I was apparently anemic, but I had to respond to this. I had to respond because it takes a breathtaking degree of not knowing your place in a wider society to even say something like this, even on a ridiculous platform of Twitter. Reid, a Hillbot who was traumatized when she realized that Hillary Clinton's precious vagina was not going to break the glass ceiling, the highest glass ceiling, the presidency of the United States. She was traumatized by it, just like with the other Hillbots. And part of the thing that had to goad them was this idea of the popularity of Bernie Sanders in comparison to the popularity of their particular candidate. Now, she comes out on Twitter and she gives somewhat of a rant, but ultimately she ends up with, Bernie and his followers are like that college friend who stays at your place for weeks, pays $0, eats your food, and trashes your aesthetic. Does it now? The wild part about this is that Bernie Sanders has the highest percentage, or highest approval rating, poll rating, of anybody in the country, of any politician in the country. Her candidate lost to a reality show host, an orange reality show host that got his kicks off of firing has-been celebrities on this little show called The Apprentice. And yet, that reality show host beat the stuffing out of Reid's candidate. Beat the stuffing out of her candidate. I would imagine that burns. Oh, I imagine that burns. That probably hurts. It hurts. Joy, why is your team such losers? Let's start there. Why is your team such losers? Because ultimately, a socialist that was, you were what, 60 points up over, came up to the point of catching your candidate. And the only way you could get past him was to cheat mercilessly. And you got caught cheating. Now, your propaganda network, your Fox News Light, it's never going to expose stuff like that. It's never going to have an honest conversation about the problems with your party. You'd instead choose to say Russia at the top of your lungs. You don't want to deal with the emptiness of that particular party. It doesn't represent anything but cash. That's it. That's it. It doesn't, yes, it harnesses the black vote, but it doesn't really do anything in that sense. It talks about the poor, but again, it doesn't really do anything in that sense. It talks about climate change, but again, it doesn't do anything in that sense. You had a president that had 8 years, starting off with absolute power, and he passed a right-wing healthcare bill. And he was trying to pass the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which made our law subordinate to foreign tribunals. Now, that's your party. I mean, I can go on how that particular president was attacking the press, how that particular president was murdering civilians abroad, in some cases up to 90%. But you're not going to talk about that. You don't have the integrity to talk about that. You don't have the honesty or earnestness to talk about that. Ultimately, you, that Shill Maddow, and these other shills on your particular channel give your public a skewed view of the world that tells them that the Republicans are everything wrong with the world and the Democrats are just virtuous and right. And ultimately, anybody who's standing on the outside of that knows that it's fucking ridiculous. That is fucking ridiculous. But that's the narrative you give. Now, those people, for the most part, eat that narrative up. So when the narrative of Russia came up, oh, they ate that up. It wasn't that she lost. Oh, it wasn't that she lost a reality show host. That wasn't it. It was Russia. Even though, again, she made the story up 24 hours after the election. Now, I would wager that Reid doesn't have a copy of Shattered. And again, like many of these other people, I'm open to sending her a copy of Shattered. She can use mine. She can use mine. My point is, this is the worst kind of shill. It's the worst kind of shill. Because ultimately, in the same vein as Bill Maher, she gets out there and she parrots a particular line, a very particular line, without necessarily giving honest context to the wider reality of politics. It's one side and one side only. MSNBC. Fox News is one side only. these two things are for the most part the same. One may be a little bit less or a little bit less egregious at bending facts, but they're mostly the same. The wildness of this is that if Bernie's followers, look, your party, it's I can't believe you're making this statement. Your party should be on its knees servicing the royal testicles of Bernie Sanders. He's been jumping around the country, lending his credibility for you. It's not the other way around. He's been helping you. He doesn't need your help. You are the dumpster fire. You're the people who the public despises. You're the party who 15 million people left. They say, I'm done with it. And Bernie Sanders jumping around the country, even with his popularity, even leveraging his credibility, laundering your image like the mob will launder money. It's not enough to get people back into that party. When I went to the People's Summit, you know what I heard? When Sanders attacked the Democratic Party, he got the loudest cheers. Those people are spiteful of your disgusting party. You guys subverted democracy, and in no situation is Joy Reid ever going to have some honest conversation about what took place in that primaries. I guarantee you she won't, just like the other hosts won't. These guys are liars. They're paid liars. They get a lot of money to get on TV and say things that are untrue, or at the very least are true but skewed in such a way as to make one side seem virtuous and the other side seem like goblins. They're both goblins. And she's a goblin for allowing this shit to pass in this way. This is horrible. This is fucking horrible. Bernie Sanders is helping your party out. Your party is a party that lost a reality show host. Your party is a party that lost House, Senate, Supreme Court. And mind you, you're supposed to get to Supreme Court, but you was that weak, that useless, that you couldn't even get your guy on the Supreme Court. 66 out of 99 state legislatures. This is an amazing number. I don't know how you could lose if you tried to lose on that level. How do you fail that much? How do you fail that much? How do you shill for a party that fails that much? And the guy who's literally lending his credibility, because understand, he loses points for doing this. He loses points. Your party is the shitty party. He is helping you out. Let's not misunderstand what's taking place here. He is helping you out. He is getting dirt on his shoe for you. He's getting dirt on his shit for you. He's leveraging his image for you. His followers, for the most part, despise what he's doing. Do you understand this? You have people who are calling a man a sheepdog, which he is. I've called him a sheepdog. He is a sheepdog. Heard, and worse things, sellout, saying that he, for the most part, was craven. But you understand, I don't believe that's true. But by the same token, he's getting called those things because of how garbage and disgusting your party is. That has everything to do with your party, nothing to do with Sanders. Those people love that man. And part of the reason they're so angry at him is because he's working with you. You're the problem here. You're the problem here. He's helping you. Let's not forget that. You're servicing at his ball sack, not the other way around. Not the other way around. The idea that you will come out your mouth and say some shit like this is insane. And it shows how head in the clouds, in a bubble, you and your party is. Personally, I agree with you, Joy. He shouldn't bother. Let you fail miserably over and over and over again until you get it through your goddamn skulls that ultimately you don't represent the interests of your constituents. You guys are robots. You get out there and say things. Oftentimes not true. Oftentimes you're just making the shit up. Oftentimes completely useless in regards to the wider narratives of what needs to take place. Your party is useless. They asked your party over and over again what you stood for, and none of you could give an honest answer. Tom Perez finally gins up an answer at some point, jumping across stage like a maniac, cursing like a madman, because he believes that cursing is somehow endears him to the Bernie crowd, the crowd that despises him. Until you do right by us, nothing takes place. Meaning Sanders can do whatever he wants. Ultimately, A, he's primarying you, meaning he's trying to take multiple people of you out of your seats. But B, he's going to castigate you over and over again, because again, at this point, this is to some degree an insurgency. That's his goal. That's clearly his goal. So you can say whatever you want in regards to helping out. He's trying to help you out. He's trying to help you out. And he's taking flack and looking bad from the people who actually support him because of it. Purely because he's a larger person than you'd ever be. Ultimately, in his mind, he thinks he's doing the best thing for this particular society. Now, I disagree with him. But at the very least, in his mind, I can see where he's coming from that particular perspective. He's just a better person than you. Yes, I said that. He's a better person than you. He's willing to go with a higher narrative in order to deal with what he believes is a wider threat. You get on TV and on Twitter and you say ridiculous stuff like this, completely oblivious to the reality to which you find yourself. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The followers who eat at your place for weeks and pay $0 each of foods and trashes your aesthetics. Yeah, okay. I don't know what dumpster fire of a place that you believe his followers are there. If they're there, they're trying to build the shit up. They're trying to build the shit up. Because that house has no walls. I mean, ultimately, you're talking about 15 million people that left the party, and Sanders jumping around the country with Tom Perez wasn't enough to get those people back into the party. Joy Reid, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. I remember when she first started coming on, I thought to myself, this woman seems pretty bright and everything else. That's not a bright comment. And I understand from your perspective it is, because you're a Democrat. And you're so ensconced in MSNBC, that comment seems perfectly normal and natural to you. It's not natural. It's not necessarily normal. And you're massively out of touch. If you honestly believe that Bernie Sanders, in some way, put it this way, that comment comes across as if he's not there to help you out. And there's no way you can be that in the dark, that out of touch, that batshit crazy. But you don't realize that he's hopping around the country to help your party out. Whether he's a member of your party or not is a moot point. You're the ones who made him an outreach coordinator. That was you. That wasn't him. And let me tell you, you didn't make him an outreach coordinator just to make him an outreach coordinator. You fully understood the situation in which you found yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been calling this garbage of unity, screaming it at the top of your lungs as if screaming it somehow magically makes it true. It does not. It does not. And if the People Summit showed anything, those people despise your party. They despise you. So, good luck with your Twitter thing. Bernie Sanders is going to be primarying one person after the next. And whether you think that strategy is going to work or not, kind of besides the point. It is for the first time in a long time where progressives are making you spend money and spend dollars to defend your seats. And those attacks are going to become more vicious, more pointed. And at some point, you will lose seats from people that he is putting up against you. That's the point. That's the point. So, say what you want. It's your house for the time being. It's your house for the time being. And while I don't necessarily have the support for Justice Democrats and everything else, at the very least, I actually do take Jake Huger at his word that that's what he wants to do. He's always said it. I take him at his word that, yes, I am doing this because I want to get money out of politics. Whether I disagree with the method, of course, but again, take him at his word. My point is, you have multiple threats going after you. Not just from the inside of the party, but also from the outside of the party. You have fucked up on a massive level. You have people with the Draft Sanders movement that is literally directly trying to attack your party externally. You have Bernie Sanders, who is trying to hollow you out in the core by putting progressives up against your particular people primarying your party. Do you understand to which you find yourself? Like, you're not in a situation of good health. This is not a picture of good health. This is a picture of a party being assailed on all ends because it doesn't represent the constituents that it says it represents. And those constituents have become wise to it and have tried to take that party back. That's what you're seeing. So, yes, Joy Reid, she can sit on MSNBC and have these little Twitter fits. The reality of the situation is your party is toast. And whether it's going to be from the outside or whether it's going to be from the inside, you have multiple threats that you have to deal with. So good luck with that. Good luck with that. some of you are going to be taken out of your seats, and it's going to be the best feeling in the history of feelings. I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, write, subscribe, and you can always support the work through Patreon.